Folks, it's the Week 6 edition of the Felder Friday on CSN. Lot to get to. We got Michael Felder at In the Bleachers on Twitter. I'm Stephen Hartzell. And, of course, the doc is in, the lock of docs. Kind enough to hang out with us on a Friday morning in between, just whatever the doctor does.
I'm wearing sneakers today, by the way.
I'm happy for you, buddy. Thank you. You are in the office, so I'm glad that nobody has to see your toes. We have no guests today. We're going to be running through just straight college football talk. Of course, the Felder 5. We got some Friday night lights that we'll get to, 2 ranked teams in action. So a decent little card to start the weekend. Do want to start the show, though, on a serious note. You guys are friends, and, we have a lot of folks out there that listen that have a relationship with what we do here, and they check in with us every Friday. I've got to come clean with you guys. Thursday night in the Hartzell residence, I had a relapse, and I found myself, look, we all have stressors at work and at home. I didn't think I'd be in this position. I'd quit this a long time ago, but Thursday night at home, had a relapse. Found myself watching the second half of the Falcons-Buccaneers game.
You got so serious for a second. I was like, uh-oh.
You guys know me, and that I quit this drug a long time ago.
Yeah.
All right? But, man, I found myself under the covers watching the second half of Atlanta and Tampa, and I found myself feeling things on the inside, guys, on the inside that I'm not used to feeling when I watch the professional football.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy named Kirk Cousins threw for a franchise record yards last night. He eclipsed the half-century mark, or half 1,000. 500 yards.
Yeah.
Things got a little weird in the Hartzell household.
So I'm assuming they won. They won the game.
Won in dramatic fashion. They're 3-2 on the season, and I just wanted to come clean with you guys because I don't watch professional football, but I did last night.
Were you really that into it back years ago? Because
yes.
I didn't know you back then.
Yes.
I mean, it used to be a part of my life. It's
Okay.
a part of my life that I left behind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You become a father, you become a husband, you become a responsible adult, and you can't sit in front of a TV.
Not me.
Saturday and Sunday, all day, all weekend, just taking in games, just absorbing this stuff. So Sundays were my free day, and we'll see what it looks like moving forward. But I just wanted to come clean with you guys from the jump because things were a little different last night for me. So there you go. Falcons are 3-2. Felder, your thoughts? You're an NFL guy.
A little bit. I'm dabbling. I still don't understand how they can't run the football. Makes no sense to me, but it's neither here nor there if your quarterback's going to throw for 500 yards. So you take it.
Yeah, and he's swag surfing, like he's embraced.
Dude, that was maybe the most funny video I've seen in a long time. When he goes to the podium, Kirk Cousins, I know we're going to talk some college football here in a second, but when Kirk Cousins gets to the podium and he goes, and they were playing that song that talks about like where you swag and then you surf, and like everybody got going. And I was like, bro, oh, wow. Wow.
Welcome to Atlanta where the players play.
Yeah, that lets me know, like, if he doesn't know that, imagine how cut off from like ultimate, like I'm not even gonna say urban culture, but like hip hop, rap, any of that stuff, he was in Minnesota.
Yeah, and tell me you're a 36-year-old white guy from Michigan State without telling me you're a 36-year-old white guy from Michigan State. So anyway, that I just had to get that out of the way. Just a little lighthearted admission of what I was going through on a Thursday night at home. Now, let's talk some college football. We have the Felder 5. I want to lead with that because that'll be our jumping off point, Felder, into some of the Week 6 games, which folks are poo-pooing the slate, man. Like they're not excited about these games, but I'm here to tell you, man. I think there's going to be multiple top 15 teams that go down this weekend. I really do.
Multiple.
Let
me look at this. Hang on. I need to see who's in the top.
Is
15.
that a hot take, Doc? Do you agree with this take? Are you all chalk this week? I mean,
I don't know. I have been pretty chalky lately. I guess there's a chance for Missouri.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're
I
looking
mean,
at
Clemson's definitely going to lose. Michigan might lose.
I mean,
from the
Or
jump,
Ole Miss, is that what you're thinking too?
From
that's
the
what
jump,
that's what I assumed it was.
you got Missouri, 9th ranked team in the nation, undefeated.
Going
They're an
to
underdog.
A&M.
They're an underdog. Okay.
Yes,
you
they
got
are.
Ole Miss coming off a loss. They got to go to South Carolina. Clemson on the road, Alabama on the road, Tennessee on the road, Michigan, USC, Miami late night on the road. I'm just saying, you look on this, you look at the slate, and you're like, yeah, this is meh. These are the weekends. These are the weekends where shit gets weird. That's all I'm saying. So
I could buy that. I mean, I'm going through this. By the way, when do they start adding the FCS lines in here?
they're available. You can bet on anything.
They're all like I just pulled up ESPN Bet, and literally I'm having to go through a bunch of FCS lines to get to like the other stuff. That wasn't the case last week.
I wonder if that's because there's so many teams on bye this week. I don't know. There's not a ton of game from a quantity standpoint. This is a pretty light week for college football fans.
Yeah, I am. So here's what I'll say. I am glad we got a chance to talk about. I got to hop on for a little bit with you guys and Roddy to talk about the ACC, obviously, but also talk about a little Georgia and Bama. So we can, if you want to hear that, hit up. What was it? Was that Tuesday show?
Yeah, it's on the feed. Just go back a couple shows. You can listen to Hot Rod and Felder chopping it up. He couldn't wait until Friday. He had takes. He had to get.
I had to get to it, man. But that being said, do you think that how do you think they rebound this weekend from a Georgia standpoint?
So I think it's a good discussion because which Georgia is Georgia? Was it the first half against Alabama, or was it the second half when they had to go, like they had to throw it, like you had to have Carson Beck try to pass you back into that game, which he did until he threw the pick at the end and the game was over. I think this is a rivalry game. Auburn almost beat Georgia last year. Arguably would have if not for Brock Bowers, right? That touchdown pass that he has late in the fourth quarter that gave Georgia the one-score win. Auburn, the story here for me is Auburn, man. They are down so bad.
Yeah.
And the Peyton Thorne thing, which we all talked about in the summer, Felder, we're like, in this portal era, if you're going to ride with this guy and you're not going to, let's call it what it is, pay to bring somebody else in,
right?
Then that's on you. And the whole dialogue about Hugh Freeze has been throwing his guys under the bus, whether it's quarterbacks, running backs.
Right.
We can't hang on to the ball. We can't stop throwing it to the other team. I mean, the Oklahoma game last week, Auburn had that thing in hand.
Sure.
They were up. I wrote this down.
Were they up?
A second.
Were they up 9?
Auburn was up 11 points in the fourth quarter.
Okay, 11.
At home against an Oklahoma team that was lifeless. And you lost that game. Now you're 2-3. You're about to be 2-4. I think Georgia's going to bounce. To answer your question, Felder, I think Georgia's going to bounce back. They're going to be fine. Okay.
They're like they're sitting around hanging out with Peyton Thorne, a guy I've watched play a lot of football.
Yes, you have,
because he's from Michigan State. And
you've watched Peyton Thorne play on the big TV, not on the iPad.
Yes, I've had to.
Not by choice.
With the sound on.
Yeah.
With the sound on.
Yes.
And it doesn't get better. And that's going to be the part that's really interesting. And Georgia's got to get back. They got to get right. Because they have to, that was a devastating loss, obviously.
Sure.
Devastating.
Hang on, was it devastating? Or which part of it made it devastating? The fact that it was 31-7 or whatever in the third quarter? Like, which part? Or the fact that you lost to Alabama again and that you can't get over that hump even though Saban's gone? What part made it devastating?
I think there's a couple different things. One, the boogeyman is still there.
Yeah.
That's one, right? So that's one that's not even like an on the field thing. That is like a psyche thing. It wasn't. It's okay. Oh wow! It's not even Nick. It's not Nick Saban. It's that crimson jersey. That's the problem. The boogeyman is still there. 2, going down 28-0 early. That was, and sure, you battled back, and we'll get to that. But going down early, your defense is not Superman right now, dog. That defense is not Superman. This is 3. You fight back, and then you give them the game. You give it to them. Like, we can talk all this talk we want about Carson Beck, and I do think Alabama. I've got issues with them. They took their foot off the gas. They should have kept going. They should have scored. They should have scored 50 points. Just keep going. Stay the way you are. But either way, they still won the football game. The reality for me is that they got some. They're not going anywhere. Who was it? Xavier Brown, Ryan Williams. Those are Ryan Williams is 17.
That's crazy.
He is 17. He's going to play this whole season as a 17-year-old. Then he'll turn 18, play his second season. He'll be 19 playing his third season. He'll be 19 or 20 when he gets picked in the NFL draft.
As the first pick.
I don't know if he'll be the first pick, depending on what happens quarterback-wise, but absolutely
first pick for
terrifying.
the Chicago Bears in 3 years.
I hope not. I mean, I'd love to have him, but I hope we're not there.
Oh, you're a Bears fan?
Tripp is a diehard Chicago Bears fan.
What? Where did you grow up?
Let's just put this out there. FSU football, Duke
Stoneville, North
basketball,
Carolina.
Chicago Bears football. Just picking and choosing, baby.
And how old are you?
Yankees. Lakers. 43.
Okay, so you did
43. Just turned 43.
You did get
Remember,
to see
I had a
Walter
birthday that Hartzell forgot about.
43 going on 23. I mean,
yeah, Walter Payton's probably the reason I'm a Bears fan.
Okay,
like I think
I can buy that.
Yeah,
I can buy that. Getting to watch Sweetness.
Still sketchy, but yeah.
I mean, they were the coolest team. 1985. I was 4 years old.
But you're not a Bulls.
Probably like I loved the Bulls growing up. Then once I got old enough to realize that Jordan went to UNC, being I'm a big Duke fan, that kind of it's like throwing a wet blanket on me. But yeah, I don't have a big NBA allegiance right now. I kind of just pull for the guys that I like in college to do well.
Okay,
Respect.
Good deal. Got it. Okay, so back on track. I think that Alabama should have put the pedal to the metal. But I think to circle back to this week, to this game, the Auburn-Georgia game, obviously it's a rivalry game. It is interesting, though, talking to folks, they do feel like that Alabama-Georgia has become a rivalry. And
the rivalry.
Yeah, yes, them. Because it's the third Saturday in October is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that game.
Yes.
To see what Tennessee can do, to see what they looks like. But that used to be the game. That used to be the big game. Georgia-Florida's had its moments as the big game.
Sure.
Florida-LSU has had its moments as the big game. Alabama-LSU's had its moments. Remember all the game of the century? What was it, 9-6? So,
yeah.
But this one now is becoming the one. And I think people thought it might peter out because there was no Saban. And I don't know if DeBoer had like a mind meld with him. I don't know if Saban came down and talked to him for a little bit. You know, he's still got an office in that facility somewhere.
Yeah.
And, but that first half, it reminded me of 2009 SEC championship game when Alabama came out. What was it? Greg McElroy, I believe, came out. They went off. They really went off tendency in a lot of different ways. Completely confused Florida. Jumped on them early and weathered the storm. That felt like this, where DeBoer came out. They did do some off tendency things, and
by the way, Kirby mentioned that in the halftime interview. He's literally like, he's like, they're doing stuff we haven't seen.
Right.
That's coaching. Like,
yes.
That is, hey, we've got Georgia coming to our place in week 5. We're going to get through the first 4 weeks. We're going to handle our business. And then when Georgia comes to town, we're going to run empty, which we haven't run all season.
Yeah.
Like, that is masterclass stuff from DeBoer, man.
Yes.
Like, this dude is not just some guy who's cashing a check in Tuscaloosa. Like, folks need to realize that.
He's coaching.
If you didn't know, now you know. But, like, this guy knows what he's doing, and he's got elite players.
So, and that's the thing. Like, this guy's used to driving a freaking Prius. Then they put him behind the wheel of a vet, and he's like, oh, hey.
I mean, he was driving around in like a 4Runner, but now he's got like.
Hey, don't
nothing wrong with a 4Runner.
Don't put my car on blast like that, dog.
I'm not. I think you're putting Washington on blast. You're putting Fresno State on blast. Talking about a Prius. Come on, man. A little respect.
I'm just saying, it's eco-friendly.
He's still.
All right. How about this? He was driving a Highlander. Nice car.
Highlander. Nice
That's
car.
my wife's car. Why are you just going at Toyotas? Toyotas are the most dependable car on the road.
I had a Highlander. Great car. Reliable car. But now we're talking about a Land Cruiser. Now we're talking about maybe those Lexus
Okay.
SUVs.
Yeah, we can do that.
There we go. So, you know what?
Nice Land Cruiser.
At Fresno State, we're talking about him driving. We're talking about a Highlander. At Washington, he's got a 4Runner. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That 4Runner got him all the way to a national championship game. And now he's driving. You know what he's driving? He's driving one of those like chic. Is it Shake or Chic? Like out in like UAE. Like he's driving one of those Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They buy them all up.
Got it.
Yeah, he's driving one of those Land Cruisers.
Let me ask you about Georgia, because you've brought this up a bunch, and you're right. The path for them the rest of the way is still incredibly difficult. They got to go to Texas. They got Ole Miss. They got Tennessee. Is Georgia still the lock for the CFP that we all thought they were at the start of the season? Because they lost the game, but they only dropped to 5 in the polls. 2 wins, I think, is going to be enough. If Georgia goes 9-3, is that enough? Like, is that even in the discussion?
And this is the thing. I tried to explain, and I don't know if we talked about this, but I was explaining the format to my wife, like how this whole thing works.
My wife,
who I love dearly, she saw me like sweating it, like going over like, how do I do this? What is it? Like, what is this? And she's like, why are you getting so frustrated? This is like after we've put our kid to bed, and like she's like, why are you getting so frustrated? And I was like, well, I have to like figure out how this all works. And she's like, well, explain it to me, and then maybe that'll help you. Like, she's a teacher, so she's like, when you
classic educator play there,
right? They're like,
let me turn this around. Yes.
Yeah. And so I was like, so right now Alabama's number 1. They go number 1. She's like, who's number 2? I said, what is number? Let me pull up the ranking so I can make it easier.
I'm asking all them questions though.
I was like, Texas is number 2, so Texas has to go to 5, and she's like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, Texas has to go to 5 because they won't win. If they don't win the SEC, they go to 5. So if they go to 5, Ohio State goes to 2. She's like, okay. I go Tennessee, who's at 4, they go to 6. She's like, and then I go so on and so forth, and you get down to Miami. Miami is going to go or Oregon's going to go to 3. Miami's going to go to 4. And she's like, or no, Oregon can't go to 3. Miami has to go to 3. And then I was like, and then you look at whoever, I don't even remember who the other one was. I was like, then they go to 4. And she's like, and then I filled in the rest. And she goes, and they agreed to this. Everyone agreed to this. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think it's going to be, I think to answer your question about Georgia, it's going to be very interesting to see. It's a combination of if they don't lose, obviously they're in. Which will probably end up with a rematch in the SEC championship game because we're divisionless football now.
Yep.
I'm very interested. I am far less excited and far more interested, if that makes sense, about the divisionless football, possible rematches, and how these games are set up. If Georgia runs the table, they're in.
Yes, for sure.
And if they run the table and lose again in the SEC championship game, they're still in.
10-2 Georgia, I think, still gets in. It's just
Absolutely.
a matter of, at that point, are you hosting? Do you have to potentially maybe go on the road and play it like, I don't know, man. Like, what if I don't want to do this game because we could spend the whole show.
No, we don't need to do it. I'm just saying that
Georgia team having to go to like BYU in the first round. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Let's just see if Georgia can play one complete game this week.
Yeah, that's
because this should be a good bounce back spot for them.
They need it,
but but let's just see them put 4 quarters together first because they haven't done it yet.
I need my man Delp to really show up.
Yeah, throw it to your tight ends, man. You're right about Georgia's offense in that they still don't. I mean, we saw a championship, caliber matchup on Saturday night. Alabama's got easy buttons on offense. Okay, whether it's Ryan Williams or Jalen Milroe.
Right.
Georgia doesn't have the home run hitter. They don't have a guy who they can throw it to for a 75-yard touchdown.
Are we in love
Trevor
with
Etienne hasn't really shown up yet this year.
That's what I was literally what I was about to ask. Are we in love with Etienne? Are we in love with their run game at all?
Not yet.
Not in love with any of it.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy because I truly was like, eh.
So get right against Auburn and get this stuff fixed because you got to go to Texas in a couple weeks.
Well, speaking of getting right, I think Clemson is kind of on that path.
Oh, they're there.
Yeah.
Now,
but when do they get into the national conversation?
So that's a good question, and Doc, I'll tee you up on this, but
they're sitting at 15 right now.
Saturday's game, that's a revenge spot for Clemson. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
They got remember the Florida State game last year, the way in which they lost that game, which was the sack fumble late, the scoop and score, the overtime loss, the missed field goal with the chance to win it. There were. I mean, you had it, and obviously Florida State's down bad, and I think it's fortunate that DJ's not playing because that storyline would get nailed into the ground, right?
Absolutely, would be abused.
He's got a broken finger, and that dude needs to sit, frankly, because he's broken. But I think Clemson's there, Felder. It's a 2-horse race in the ACC right now.
Sure. Yeah, it is. So that was. I mean, we don't have to belabor this point. We don't have to make Tripp feel like we're picking on him.
You can. It's fine. We can talk about it. I think Clemson is probably the best play on the board this week. I don't really. We talked about this yesterday with Phil Steele. I mean, it's really hard to find a way to side with Florida State right now.
Right. It's
because
tough.
They've been so unimpressive. They're bringing back Brock Glenn in to play quarterback this week against one of the better defenses that they're going to see all year. There's no way you can side with Florida State this week, even with 2 touchdowns at home in a rivalry game. And you're right. Normally, I would say a revenge game, you would have had to have lost the previous game as a favored team. But FSU was actually favored. But like Hartzell said,
the way
Florida State never led for a second in regulation. There was one big play that changed the entire game. And so not a good spot for FSU on Saturday.
So it's going to be I'm very curious to watch that football game just to see what they bring to the
Not
game.
me.
Clemson they got to tune up their defense though.
Also, that's the Roddy Jones special. So we support our guy. He will be on the call for FSU hosting Clemson in front of. I mean, there will be some folks wearing brown paper bags on their heads, man.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Well, they should be. They should be. There's a lot to be upset about right now.
Before we move on, because this one is one I think we're all going to agree on. What is the temperature like there with respect to Norvell?
I was just thinking about this on the way. How many months ago was it when Alabama is trying to, hire the next coach, and for a while Norvell was the betting favorite.
Right.
At least he was the odds-on favorite to be the next coach at Alabama. And how many of us were just praying that he would not go anywhere and stay at Florida State? And to imagine just months later that people are talking about getting rid of Norvell. I don't know. I'm not one of those guys, but it's crazy that we're here right now.
Yeah. So it's wild. So I'm going to go to something that's this. We're going to take a positive turn here. Ashton Jeanty. Bro, he's going to go over 1,000 yards this week in Game 5.
Maybe in the first half, honestly. They got Utah State coming to town. Utah State's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
This man.
I asked you on Hand in the Dirt earlier this week if he was going to break Barry Sanders' record. Now, you have to put this into context. Okay, Barry Sanders owns the Division I record for most rushing yards in a season.
Yes.
2,628. He did that. Now, this is the same season he had an absurd 37
touchdowns.
He did that in 11 games.
10 regular season games and 1 bowl game.
10 regular season
They've
plus
added,
the 1 bowl
retroactively
game.
added in the bowl game.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, go ahead. Read the Austin Genty stats, because I think he's going to flirt with one, if not both of those records.
So you've changed from a day ago. A day ago you said there's no way that he will get the touchdown record.
Mathematically, he's on pace.
Well, listen, got him right here. Calculator City, baby. 13. He's played 4 games. He's going to play at least 12 games.
Yeah, so what's 13 times 3?
It's 39.
I mean...
And then what is that? Let's divide that by, so we talked about him playing 12 games. That's 3.25 touchdowns per game. So let's go ahead and multiply that. Let's say he's good. They're going to play in the Mountain West Championship game.
Yeah. So that's 13 games.
Might get another game in the playoffs.
That's 14 games.
So multiply that times 2 to add that. That's 6.5 plus the 39. We might, like, if he's on the same pace, 45 touchdowns, maybe 46. That's scary.
So do the yards.
What if they win a playoff game?
So do the yards. He's at 845 yards right now.
All right, 845. 845
times
divided
3
by 4. Oh yeah, 840. That's fine. Let's just do. It's 211. So I'll do 211 times 12. That's 2535.
Okay, that's 100 yards shy of Barry Sanders' record.
And then we're at 13, maybe the 14th game. I'm going to tell you what, I am looking forward to October 25th. I want everything to go smooth for UNLV and for Boise State to get to that October 25th game.
I think if Austin Genty leads Boise State, now this is the caveat because they're not a Power 4 school. If he leads Boise State to the playoff and breaks 2,000 yards rushing, which, obviously the guy has to stay healthy, I think he's your Heisman favorite, not just like going to New York.
Dude,
and look, I'm not a Heisman voter. You got the Travis Hunter situation. This guy's a two-way player. Colorado's 4-1. Like, I think Travis Hunter's definitely in the mix. Jalen Milroe obviously is the Heisman favorite after what he just did to Georgia last Saturday. But, dude, Genty has to be not just in the mix for me. I think he's got to be for me, he's got to be the front runner, man. We don't see this from running backs anymore. We just don't.
What are we talking? 20, what was it, 14? Melvin Gordon? He ran for 2,500 yards? What's his name? What did Andre Williams run for BC?
Man, I don't think he came close to that number.
Let me see. 2,100.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's hard. And teams throw the ball more now anyways.
It's an incredible story. If you haven't watched Genty play, then you're kind of doing the whole college football thing wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their game this weekend, do you know what channel it's on?
Let me see.
It's on FS2, not FS1, FS2. Okay, this stuff is buried, and it's going to be buried the rest of the way. You're going to have to dig around for this. But Boise State, 7 o'clock on FS2.
It's Utah State. So, I mean, I get that. I bet that UNLV game is going to be somewhere very highly visible as long as they stay on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, for sure. But CBS didn't pay all those billions with a B to put Mountain West games on CBS if there's a Big Ten game sitting out there. You know,
so
4-4 Michigan. We'll take it.
Let's get to 4. 4 is something I thought long and hard about, right? Army and Navy.
Yeah, we support the troops here on CSN.
For sure. Army, undefeated.
Never lost.
Navy, Undefeated.
Never lost.
Made the stock report.
So when the selection for the playoff comes when?
The Monday after conference championship games.
The Army-Navy game comes when?
The weekend after conference championship games. I don't know. I know where you're at. I know what you're asking. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer.
Oh my God. Like, imagine this. Like,
I don't think they can wait an extra week. I don't think that's a possibility.
Like I'm looking at Navy right now, right? They have Notre Dame. Yes, I think that's probably going to end up being a loss.
Where's that game though?
It's neutral site.
I think it could be a game, though. I mean, yeah, it could.
It's neutral site.
Yeah, it's in New Jersey, I think. MetLife.
MetLife, okay.
And so let's say they win that game. Bro.
I know.
And they win their league. What happens?
I don't have
Was
the
that
answer.
just an oversight or something? Because honestly, after last year, it wouldn't surprise me.
That's what
Now,
this is exactly what I wrote in the Felder 5. Navy and Army both undefeated, not playing each other, but not playing each other this weekend. But realistically, is this playoff format built for them? They play after selection, correct?
Yes. I think Navy
Army is in a conference now.
Both of them are. Yes, correct. Yes, they're both in the American.
They could. So they could play each other. Does the American have divisions?
No.
So they could play each other for a conference championship in theory.
Yes.
A week before, they could play each other for a conference championship the day before the selection is made, then play each other again that next week.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That'd be awesome.
The stew just keeps getting thicker, dude.
Let's root for that, okay? I mean,
I am.
It's going to feel like 1945 all over again.
I am rooting for it because I'm not in love with this format. Every single week, I feel like it gives me a freaking ulcer, makes me feel insane, and I am rooting for that because I want to see how sweaty it gets in that room.
Army also gets Notre Dame at Yankee Stadium in November. So both Army and Navy get Notre Dame on the schedule this year. For what it's worth, Felder, I've watched both of these teams quite a bit through the first couple weeks. I think Navy's better than Army.
See, I was going to say the opposite. I think
really?
Army's better,
okay.
Dude.
I think the Blake Horvath guy is
I like Horvath a lot. Don't get me wrong.
He's pretty good, man. He can throw it.
He's very good. And he can you know what? Maybe that's the answer because he can throw. He can throw better than what is the other guy?
Bryson Daly. Yeah.
Like he can throw better than him. Yes, you're 100% correct. So maybe, you know what? Maybe you talked me into it. But man,
dude,
Daly
Navy, every time I looked up last week, Navy was just shredding UAB.
They absolutely destroyed them.
The UAB
on the road.
That thing is starting to get very uncomfortable down there.
With Trent Dilfer?
Very uncomfortable. Look, that's a proud program, man. You can say what you want, like, yeah, they canceled football, blah, blah, blah. That's true. And then Bill Clark had that thing rolling. Okay,
yes, he
UAB was playing for conference championships.
Yeah.
And Trent Dilfer has driven that thing into the ground. And they got annihilated by Navy last week. So
yeah,
keep
that was
an eye on
not
that
good.
And he's saying some dumb stuff at press conferences too. It's getting worse down there in Birmingham. But yeah, shout out to Army and Navy, undefeated. Let's hope it keeps rolling.
Let's hope it keeps going.
Is it Navy at Air Force this week? So
yes.
One of the legs of the Commander-in-Chief trophy?
Yes, sir.
Love to see it. By the way, real quick on that game, because that made my list of the best of the rest, which I want to talk about later.
Why do you think I put it in the Felder 5?
Navy at Air Force. What time does that game kick? Anybody know off the top of their head?
No, 10:30.
Noon Eastern time. What time is that locally in Colorado Springs, Felder?
That is 10.
That's 10 a.m. local.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Not ideal.
That's not fun, man.
I mean,
And
it's fun if you're like, getting home at like, 1 o'clock. You can watch games the rest of the day. But
like literally, like I mean, yes, that is fun. That part's fun for fans. And like and we talked about it with Roddy. We've talked about it with everybody. We talked about it with every coach that we talked about at ACC kickoff, going both ways, like East Coast to West Coast, West Coast to East Coast. Talked about it with Roddy. Like it's a constant discussion because Roddy talked about when he had to go. Who did Roddy cover out there? Was it a Stanford game?
Where? Out west?
Out west, yeah.
He was out west for like a wedding this summer, and he was talking about.
He also went out west.
Oh, he went to Arizona State and Mississippi State.
Yes,
and he was just like, it's wild. Like it's your body clock. It takes time to get caught up, and if you got an early game, but if you like Navy playing at noon, 10 normal time, that's easy for them. That's what they're used to doing.
So there are two extremes that we're going to see on Saturday, all right?
Yes.
In the top 25. UCLA travels to Penn State for a noon game.
Dude, that
Penn State.
What did Wayne say about the travel?
He's let me tell you something, all right? I'm going to let you in behind the scenes here. Wayne is a fit guy who's in his early 50s, okay?
Yes.
His ass was dragging after the LSU game, okay? Mm-hmm. Now that was one leg of a coast to coast, even though it's Louisiana, it's not State College, PA. Now we're doing it again. Mm-hmm. Like I do a show with Wayne on Tuesday night. You hear it on Wednesdays.
Yes.
Wayne's ass was dragging. Now UCLA has to go east, play a noon game at State College. That's 9 a.m. body clock time.
Do they fly into Baton Rouge? Did they fly into Baton Rouge?
They flew into New Orleans,
and then
drove.
They drove up.
But that's the UCLA trip is that's a bear, man. That Penn State's a tough place to get to.
Penn State's a hard place to get to.
Late night, Miami going to Berkeley to play a game that kicks at 10:30 Eastern time. That's that two opposite ends of the spectrum here, man.
Absolutely, dude.
And get used to it.
10:30, Miami at 10:30. Every game. I'm guessing almost every game that they've ever played is over at the time that they have to get started.
Correct. In Berkeley, baby. We'll talk about that one. 7:30
local.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Roddy brought it up. Roddy said, look, when he was out there, he was waking up at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what your body is accustomed to. Like, I don't know what you do as a football team if you're not getting to the stadium until 4 or 5 o'clock local time. Like, you're up for 12 hours before you even get to the stadium, dude. That's
Stay hydrated, boys. Stay hydrated.
I mean, luckily they're all, 19, 20, 21 years old. They stay up all night playing video games anyways. They're fine.
I don't think they're fine.
Have a couple of code reds.
I don't think they're fine.
I don't think so, man.
5-hour energy.
I don't think they're. I think this is going to be a very interesting experiment. Something that's completely like not even on the radar of a lot of folks. I'm sure gamblers think about it.
We will be visiting Berkeley for the pick segment a little bit later in the show. Let's just set that aside, okay?
And what do we got? We got Cook, Burden, and Weiss. Weiss, by the way, former Oklahoma guy, right?
Yeah, Theo Weiss.
I love him.
Weezy.
Then you got, dude, Weiss, Burden. What do you like? A&M's defense is fine. I think they have slowly started to turn a corner.
Mike Elko, baby.
They've started to turn a corner. Like they're starting to trust like what they're doing. And I just think this is going to be a very interesting contest because they have gotten better against the run than when they started.
They're getting better each week, period.
Yeah.
They lost to Notre Dame. Since then, what have you done? You've handled your business. The Arkansas game last week was impressive. They gave up 14 points early. The scripted stuff for Arkansas worked. They hit a couple of big plays, and then what happened? They settled down. They gave up 3 points the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I like Marcel Reed a lot, Felder. I don't like, even if Wegman can play.
Why?
Why play him? Yeah, I don't think Reed's done anything to lose the job.
No, not at all.
Since those 3 starts.
My man, between him and CJ Bailey, like I fear for their lives every time they get the ball.
Yeah, they're tiny. Yeah,
but they do some really awesome things. And Reed, we're talking about a guy that's 6'3", probably weighs 100 at this point. I know he's listed at 180. At this point, he probably weighs 170 pounds.
Yeah, no, he's small. Now he can scoot and he can hide behind that offensive line. A&M's offensive line's been playing really well. For me, I don't know if this is like the game of the day because it's the only ranked on ranked matchup.
Right.
But
they're favorites, right?
A&M is a slight favorite, like 2.5 points. This is a huge game for both of these teams, man, because Missouri's off the bye. Unimpressive stuff against Vanderbilt and Boston College. Like, yeah, they won, but was it pretty? No. Like,
not at all.
Vanderbilt took you to overtime. You had to come from behind against Boston College at home. First road game of the season for Missouri.
Yeah.
Dude, I like A&M in this spot, and if they get the win, look at A&M's schedule, dude. That is conducive.
That's what I'm clicking around trying to pull it up right now.
It is conducive in the SEC as far as SEC schedules go.
No Alabama.
Yeah.
No Georgia.
No Georgia. No Ole Miss. You have LSU, but they come to your place, and then you host Texas in that rivalry game that we haven't seen in a decade.
That place is going to be on fire.
That place is going to be banana.
So
I think that's the toughest ticket in college football's regular season in terms of like secondary market get-in price.
Yes.
Is Texas at Texas A&M Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. So I'm looking at this.
Road games in the SEC for A&M
at Mississippi State,
after this
at
week.
South Carolina,
Mississippi State, South Carolina, Auburn.
They can win all these football games.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, A&M, man, they're just lurking. They're just, I don't know if that's on your stock report or not, Doc, but, maybe it should be after Saturday.
They're 4-1.
Just saying.
Like, we immediately, when they lost to Notre Dame, we're like, okay, we don't have to worry about them. And now it's like, no, we're gonna have to worry about them.
It's also, for me, Felder, it's also, and we all live in the state of North Carolina, so I think maybe we were aware of what was happening at Duke.
Yeah, Mike Elko.
Elko can coach, man. Like, this guy, he's not goofing around on Twitter. Like, he's not posting videos. Like, he's not.
No,
this guy just
all he wants to
football.
do is ball.
That's all he wants to do, man. And
what did Players Circle say? If I don't do nothing, I'm a ball.
He's like a 180-degree departure from their previous head coach, and that's such a good thing for A&M because they've always had the players.
In many ways, not like there's the very basic 180 that is he's a defensive guy. There's that one, but then there's also like the personality and all those things are completely different.
What's so different about it? I'm just curious because not that I don't know Jimbo personally or anything. I'm just curious like what all the differences are.
Mike Elko is a hyper focused, the team takes on, we always say this, the team takes on the personality of the coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jimbo was, I don't know if boisterous is the right word, but certainly a very, look at me, we're doing this, look at what we're doing, look at how we've upgraded this, look how we've upgraded that, look how this is go back to Florida State. Upgraded facilities, we've upgraded this, look at our new this, look at our new that. Elko's like, I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want football.
That was the end of it for Jimbo at Florida State. It was over facilities. So at least from the things that I've read, he's like, look, we're getting leapfrogged by Clemson. And, he had a bunch of boosters that were used to Bobby Bowden, just getting it done more like what you're saying with Elko.
Yes.
And Jimbo just wouldn't let him off the hook. And I think that's kind of why it ended there.
You can go.
Yeah.
So, and Elko, he just wants to do football. And I really appreciate that about him. Oh, shoot.
I think Missouri could also be a fraud. Like, I understand that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, just like who has Missouri played through the first 4 weeks of the season?
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna knock it because you were 100% correct about Ole Miss, 100% correct about who was the other team?
Louisville.
100% correct about Louisville. So I mean, I'm gonna have to start listening to Stephen Hartzell.
God, can I just clip that? Can we just at Trip
Felder
after
don't
the show?
don't
can,
say
can
things
you
like
show
that.
Me how
That's
to edit video so we can just clip that right there and just run it on a loop. That would be great. All right, what else you got for the Felder 5?
Well, that's 5, but we've got some other stuff.
Let's go overtime. Let's go. Hit me with it.
I did write meh week, but you're right. We might see some upsets. Okay, got that. We already talked about that. Boom. Are the Vols going to struggle with the Hogs?
No.
No?
Trip says no.
Man, hang on. What's the number on this game?
It's 2 tutties.
13.5.
Wow.
It's a big number.
I think we'll see a really good showing from Tennessee tomorrow. I really do. I think they're off a bye. They also winning the Oklahoma game, but I don't think they won it in the style they wanted to win it. I think we're going to see a big game from Tennessee.
So these guys are going to be on a mission.
I think so. I think you'll see a motivated Tennessee team.
Okay.
Look, let's face it. Like, let's call this what it is. Tennessee right now is borderline great. Like they are making a case to be in the discussion with Texas, Bama, Ohio State, Georgia. Like am I wrong? Like, it's not just Nico throwing the football. Defensively, these dudes are fucking mean.
I love how I was going to say, I love their defense. I like their defense more than their offense.
Yeah. And like, it's, I don't like to cuss on the show, but like these guys they're ferocious. Like the defensive front is now. Here's the thing about Taylor Green, man. It's feast or famine with this guy. Like,
yes,
he is
that's
capable,
a great way to put it.
Dude, he is capable of putting together just these chunk plays with his arm, with his legs. He's also capable of just gifting the ball to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't Tennessee's secondary is going to get tested here. I don't know if we've really seen them have to work that hard through the first month of the season. Oklahoma certainly wasn't making them work.
NC State didn't do it either.
Look,
NC State can't do anything.
Yeah.
NC State is in a bad place, dude. We'll get to that a little bit later because they're hosting another team on Saturday that's in an equally bad place. But, yeah, for me, I don't want to crown Tennessee. The doctor has already crowned Tennessee. He's already crowned them.
I was the first to crown him. I want to say I was the first to crown him, and if I'm right, I want some kind of present or gift.
Well, call me old-fashioned. Call me old school here, but I still need to see Tennessee do the thing on Saturday night in Fayetteville. I need to see him do it again against Alabama, and then I need to see him do it again in Athens. Then I might crown him.
Well, I think even if they do it this weekend, like I think most of the public is just like you. They think they're borderline right now. So even if they do it this weekend, that's not going to be enough.
Man,
they've got to do it against Bama on the borderline.
Nico needs to play a clean game too, by the way, which he hasn't done.
Yeah.
In a while.
Yeah, well, he hasn't. I mean, they haven't had to have that yet because the defense has been lights out so far. But I think we're going to see a really sharp Tennessee team tomorrow.
I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited for that.
I'm looking forward to it.
7:30 under the lights, ABC, Fayetteville.
I think it's over at halftime.
Got to have it. And frankly, this is another quality of life game, man. Like Sam Pittman, hot seat. You know, you lose this game, you're 3-3, and I think we all know where that thing's headed. But you win this game, you upset Tennessee, they rush the field, different story. So we'll see.
Don't rush the field, though.
They will rush the field. They're crazy.
I hate that. I hate it. Here we go. We mentioned the time thing with Cal. What we haven't talked about, Wilcox has played this guy. He's played this Cam Ward cat twice.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
We don't share notes before the show. We just hop on and we just kind of we go. It ain't just Cam Ward that he's seen before. Okay.
Right.
He's also gone head to head with Mario Cristobal.
That's correct too. I didn't even think about that part.
And he's beaten Cristobal. Like look, Cam Ward did not play great against Virginia Tech. He had plays where he looked great, But that guy was living on the knife's edge, man. The play where he's getting sacked and just hands it off to the receiver who ends up running for like 30 or 40 yards. You know the play I'm talking about late in the game? Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like Cam Ward got exposed. The guy he's one of the best players in college football, but he did not have a clean game. And what does Cal's defense do very well, Felder?
Minimize explosive plays.
Yeah, and the secondary is incredibly disciplined.
Yeah, they're tight.
Their turnover, like they create.
They couldn't hold Florida
State. Create
State.
havoc. So if Jaden Ott can get going, which been waiting for that all year.
Yeah, is something wrong with him?
Do something? I don't know. I don't know if he's healthy or what. I don't know.
Because he's not even there. He's not their leading rusher.
Yeah, he hasn't played very much.
Yeah, he hasn't.
He's there, and he's missed a game already. He's got the most carries, but not the most yards.
I like the Mendoza kid too, the quarterback for Cal.
Yeah. Fernando.
Look, I just think this is one of those games, even at the beginning of the year, where you're like, this is going to be a problem for Miami. Going and the 10:30 kick does not help things. Now, look, man, I could be wrong.
10:30 kick doesn't help. And again, I do think that Wilcox having experience with you mentioned Cristobal having experience playing against Cam Ward. Like he's doing stuff that other teams that Cam Ward has played against, they don't really know what he does.
Right.
And I'm sure they've got an analyst at Virginia Tech that went back and looked at some Washington State stuff, but they didn't play him. This guy's been on the field with him. So this is going to be really interesting to me.
Cal beat Washington State last year 42-39.
Yep.
And the
previous year.
They lost, but they held Washington State to 28 points. So, yeah, look, man, you've seen 8 quarters of Cam Ward.
Yeah, up close and personal.
That's more than the rest of the ACC has. So there's also just the Berkeley factor here, man. Like, that place, I don't know what it's going to look like on Saturday night. Obviously, College Game Day is coming to town. Like, I joke about how apathetic college football fans are in Northern California, of all places. But, like, they're into it. Like, they're going to be there. The place is going to be packed. So we'll see. I'm just saying, like, we'll see. ACC fans, like, I know the whole Stanford Cal thing has been met with, just kind of this, like, confusion almost. Like, what do we do with these teams? Like, this is so weird. You can't tell me that this thing for a neutral fan isn't going to be fun to watch Saturday night. It's the last game on the board, man.
Yeah.
Top 10 ranked undefeated Miami team going to sleepy Cal for College Game Day. Like, come on, man. This is low-key kind of cool. Like, I'm kind of excited to watch this.
I am too. I'm looking forward to it. Like, that's going to be one of those games that I put on the thing that's on the circle.
And your boy Marshawn Lynch is going to be there. He's the guest picker. So.
Oh, cool.
Beast mode.
Good for him.
Home a dig. What else you got?
One of them. Let me see. Sorry, I was looking at I was trying to make sure this was the last game. Texas Tech has the last game.
Texas Tech, Arizona, 11 o'clock. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. 10:30, 11 o'clock.
No, I just wanted to. No. This isn't me judging you. This is me being like, is he right? Because if he's right,
do you know how many games there are Saturday?
Not a lot.
43.
Bro, do you know how many games there were in week 1?
It was twice that number, right?
Yeah, there was like 96 games.
Yeah. There's only 49 college football games this week. 6 of them are during the week. So there's on Saturday that leaves 43 games. There's not a lot of games.
That's what I literally I wasn't checking you. I was looking and I was like, oh man, am I going to get in bed at a normal time?
Next week there's only 44 games on Saturday. So I mean
we're there.
We're kind of cruising. And by the way,
because all these teams are playing each other now.
Take a look at the forecast too, man. It's going to get chilly next week, dude. Oh, let's go.
Yeah. What does Oregon need to do against Michigan State to stop just kind of hanging out? Because that's what it feels like they're doing.
Because that's what they did last week against UCLA when they were my top play on the board.
Cost Trip a 3-0 week. Yep.
Cost me a 7-0 week because I think we talked about it yesterday. They were up, I think 28-3 about to score again to go up 35-3, threw the pick. It gets run back for a touchdown. And then they came out in the second half and played with their food for 30 minutes. They scored 6 points in the second half. I'm really ill with these guys, to be honest with you. I'm ill to the point where I want to take Michigan State in 24 just because something weird is going to happen with Oregon where they just don't cover.
I'm just
You know who comes to town next week, right?
Ohio State.
Yeah. Like there's a motive here.
Yeah.
Like
honestly, this might be a good spot to bet Michigan State here.
This is
look
the
ahead
game. Friday night game in Eugene. It's happening tonight. So
I know. Trust me. It'll have to be on my television.
They can't cover.
Dude,
they've got a look ahead game.
This isn't the top game on the board for Friday night. That's Syracuse UNLV, which we'll get to in a little bit. But
that's gonna have to be on the iPad for me.
Wayne, our man Wayne was at the Rose Bowl last week. He was on the sidelines. He's like, dude, Oregon's impressive. Like the bodies.
Good.
The guys on the line of scrimmage, offensive, defensive. They still got they got DJ's brother, right? Who's like a linebacker for them. One of the Uyunglele's. I think he's like a linebacker. This is all a tune-up for the Buckeyes next week, man. That is a mass. That's one of the games of the year in college football.
Is that game in Eugene?
Yes.
Which game?
Or Ohio State.
The Ohio State game.
Oh, the Ohio State game.
It's under a field goal. Like if you're looking ahead, it's under a field goal spread right now.
Who's favored? Oregon?
Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah.
I think that's what I saw earlier.
They get Michigan State and Ohio State at home. It's their first, these are their first. I mean, yes, UCLA was a Big Ten game. They had to go, but that's a team that they played for years, for decades.
Let me flip this around on you guys, because I hear what you're saying, like Oregon's winning, but they're just kind of hanging out. How many teams right now are handling their business to the point where they're just breaking teams?
Well, Tennessee to an extent.
There's only Tennessee, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas, yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
Are we that impressed with Ohio State through the first month of the season? Haven't played anybody.
I was gonna say I literally was gonna steal your line from you.
I mean, Bama, yes, they dismantled Georgia, but they also let Georgia take a late fourth quarter lead before Ryan Williams saved them. So I'm just saying, I hear you, Felder. Okay.
Yeah.
Although BYU let Baylor hang around and they had the ball late fourth quarter, got through a pick. I'm just saying, it's hard to do this. It's hard.
It is hard. I understand that. What I'm saying is that, and it's hanging out is it's two things, right? In game, they're just kind of hanging out. They're like, yeah, we can beat you. We know we can beat you. This is fine. Okay. But also, they're just kind of hanging around. And I guess the Ohio State game will change things in terms of where they fit in terms of the rankings and what people think about this football team. Because I think they're just kind of they're number one. They're 6 in the country. They're just like, it's us. We're doing our thing. What's the big deal? No big deal. We're just doing it. It's not a big deal. So that's going to be another interesting element to this. So, we'll see what happens. And then Penn State's just Penn State too. I haven't seen anything from them that's made me go yes.
Well, they've played nobody, right? Penn State, they won at West Virginia in a game that had all those lightning delays.
Dude,
UCLA's
that was
coming to town. UCLA is now. I say this: they beat Illinois last week, ranked Illinois team.
That was a good game.
Nice, but what did Penn State do in that game? They moved the football. They didn't score. I mean, it was
right.
Yeah, it was ugly.
It was rough. So I don't know what we're going to learn about Penn State. We're not going to learn anything on Saturday when UCLA travels east, that's for sure. Because UCLA is awful. God, they are offensive.
Well, Penn State, I mean, we already know. They're not in the conversation with – I don't care if they made the playoff or not. They're not in the conversation with the better teams in the country because it's the same old story.
Can we go back to
same old
tiers?
Story with Big Ten football.
What are your tiers, Steven?
My tiers. Well, you know me. I'm a harsh grader, man. I'm not putting 5 teams in the top tier.
Okay. How many are you putting in there?
I'm putting Texas and Bama and Georgia in that tier.
Okay.
I've got Ohio State, Tennessee, Clemson. I've got
Oregon?
Clemson in the second tier. Oregon. Not Ole Miss. Not Missouri.
Not Penn State.
Not Penn State.
Okay.
No, I think that's tier 3 for me.
Okay. I just want to make sure we revisit that all the time.
Miami's in tier 3. I don't have them in tier 2.
Miami in tier 3 makes sense to me.
I think Clemson's better than Miami. Is that a bad take? Is that a hot take?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think Clemson wants to play Miami.
What are your tiers?
Alabama and Texas. 1.
Okay.
Georgia, Ohio State.
Vols.
I guess maybe Oregon. Oregon's fringe. Then that next group of same teams that you mentioned. Oh, put Clemson in that tier 2 as well.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's okay that we're still learning about these teams in October. Yeah. It's okay, but the next couple weeks, man, like
we're going to learn a lot.
Dude, we got Red River next week.
Yeah.
Like, look, if Texas is legit,
if Texas belongs in that top tier,
do the thing you couldn't do last year, which is beat Oklahoma.
Like blow them out.
If you're about that life, let's see it.
What did I say? Alabama and Texas in the top tier? Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's all
I didn't forget Texas.
Yeah. Tejas on a bye, getting ready for Red River.
Blow them
Saturday. All right, Felder, anything else from you? Because I got some games that I want to run.
No, let's go.
Friday Night Lights, Syracuse at UNLV, 9 o'clock kick on FS1. Rebels are favored in this game by 6.5. Doc, I will let you get first dibs here because you were on UNLV weeks ago.
I told you guys they could be favored from whenever till the Boise game. I don't know. I don't know if I'm crazy. This wouldn't be one of my top plays here. I think UNLV could definitely win the game, but Kyle McCord I've had the chance to watch a couple of the Syracuse games so far this year, especially when they lost to Stanford. But still, their offense this year, I think, is averaging close to 500 yards a game. It's like 470 something. Like, he's been a real difference maker for them. So I don't know. I think UNLV wins, but this wouldn't be one of my top plays here because it would not shock me at all if Syracuse won the game.
How do we feel about Haj Malik stepping in?
It's hard not to like after last week.
Okay.
Here's the thing. UNLV ranked, okay, uncharted territory for them.
Sure.
True. Yeah.
Handle your business. If you are him, handle your business.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Syracuse, yeah, they slipped up against Stanford. I think they're going to hang around in this game. Like, I would be impressed if UNLV won this thing by double digits if they covered the spread. I think Syracuse is going to give them a game. If Kyle McCord doesn't revert back to, throwing picks and giving the other team the ball, which he did against Stanford, then we got a ball game in this thing. Look, Oregon, Michigan State, it's happening at the same time. It's not going to be competitive. So flip over, watch UNLV. Let's all learn together, right? Because you brought it up earlier. UNLV Boise regular season meeting in October could be the first of 2 meetings between those 2 schools to decide the Mountain West. So giddy up. Let's go.
What else you got?
I want to run through some ranked games that we haven't talked about. Thoughts on SMU at Louisville at noon Saturday?
Jeez.
You want to get back on the Tyler Shuck wagon? I don't.
See, that game really frustrated me. Like, that interception when they were driving, that late interception, that wasn't his fault. He hit the guy in the face with the football. And then he basically the guy they were driving and the guy handed it to the Notre Dame guy. That's not, how is that his fault?
I like SMU, man.
Okay.
On the road. Phil likes SMU.
SMU might be cooking a little bit since that quarterback change. Now, everybody gets right against FSU, so maybe we should discount what SMU did.
That was, I mean, words out of my mouth. Yeah.
But SMU Louisville, low key, this is a game that's going to determine like who's the third best team in the ACC.
Yeah.
Right? Are we comfortable with that?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Does Ohio State do anything for you guys?
Yeah.
Over. Best over team in football. Iowa Hawkeyes.
Iowa's played 4 games. All of them have gone over. That's a true story.
Well, here's the thing. To me, I love, I want to see this Ohio State team get tested. And I know that they're not going to test them offensively or defensively, if you will. Iowa's not going to test out the Ohio State defense, but I do know that they're going to play sound, base level defense.
Mm-hmm.
Make these guys have to make plays. You know what I mean? Make Will Howard have to think. Make him have to decipher what's in front of him. Watch him, because Ryan Day, I haven't talked enough about this. Ryan Day is a micromanager.
Yes.
He's a micromanager.
Check with me.
The thing I'm looking forward to, the thing I want to see is with 15 seconds on the play clock, Iowa's movement. I want to see how Iowa moves with 15 seconds on. Once they get under sub 15, comms cut off. Now, and Roddy said the same thing. You can see the difference. Guys who know what they're doing, guys who are trying to listen. And for people, I don't know, I'm sure we've talked about it before, but having someone in your ear while you're trying to talk is hard to do. And it is going to be very interesting to see what this looks like against an Iowa defense that is going to move. Like, Will Howard's going to be calling plays, repeating things back, and he will look over here, it hits 15, he's going to tell a guy to do this or go in motion here, and the guy that he thought was right there in the A-gap has moved over to head up over the guard or has moved over to head up the center. There's going to be movement, and movement is one of the most crucial things. I know he's a senior, but the reality of it is I don't think he's played enough football against a team like this.
Yeah. Watch Caleb Johnson run if you haven't. The running back for Iowa. That dude is a monster. Okay. Ashton Genty is the human first down. He's averaging like 10.2 yards per carry. Caleb Johnson's like 8.4, 8.6, something like that. So, yeah, I think Iowa could hang around in this game, and I wouldn't hate that because I've seen Ohio State play no one through the first month of the year.
And I know Howard played a lot of football at Kansas State, but I don't think he's played a team like this Iowa football team. Like I want to make that very clear. Yes, they played Iowa State, and I think Iowa State is probably the only team that's somewhat in the same sort of realm in terms of defensive movement, confusion, and moving around that he played against.
Let's keep things in the Big Ten. Michigan at Washington, 7:30 kick on NBC. Talk to me, Felder. This line has come down in the last couple of days.
Why is it coming? I don't. Why?
What is the line now?
1.5.
Yeah, Washington by 1.5. Right.
Michigan is taking money from the public. Did you watch the Washington-Rutgers game last week? Excuse me.
Yes.
Washington had almost 600 yards of offense. Their field goal kicker missed not 1, not 2, but 3 field goals.
Yeah.
And a lot of penalties.
They had a blocked field goal brought back for a penalty that Rutgers scored a touchdown on the next play. Like, everything that could have gone wrong for Washington did. They still lost by 3 on the road. The Apple Cup game, 4th and 1, inside the 5.
Yeah.
Bad play call. You get stuffed. You lose the Apple Cup. My point is, Washington sitting there at 3-2.
Hosting.
Very easily be 5-0. It's not, and that's life. But I think Washington's a better football team. We know what Michigan is.
Yeah, Washington, I can't remember the stat. They've held teams under their average as far as yards gained by like a pretty significant number.
Also,
did you just say that, Hartzell?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were.
No. The defensive stuff, like they're good, but my concern here, and Felder, I know you love Will Johnson, one of the best defensive backs, one of the best players in college football. He's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Colston Loveland, who's the only guy who could catch a pass if Alex Orji threw a pass, is hurt.
Hey,
we know what Michigan's going to do. They're going to run the ball 60 times. I think Washington's going to be able to stop that.
This Mullings cat, dude, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, that's because Donovan Edwards has been on the side of a milk carton all year. Like, I just don't know.
Yeah, what happened to him?
This game has like 10-6 final written all over it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be ugly, Trip. Yeah, I agree.
Hang on, let me read something to you. Mullings started as a linebacker at Michigan, or like not started, but was a linebacker at Michigan.
Of course.
2020, 1 tackle, 1 PBU. 2021, still a linebacker. 11 total tackles. 2022, still a linebacker. 12 tackles. Then they moved him to running back. 31 yards. 2023, 222 yards. And now he already has 540 yards this season. This dude's just been hot. This is the second time in as many years that we are seeing Michigan completely fuck up personnel. This guy's your best running back.
Yes.
Last year, Mike Sainristil was your best defensive back that you just had hanging out playing wide receiver. How? That's wild. So, yeah, Mullings is good. And I still don't understand what happened with Donovan Edwards. But Mullings is good. I am very curious to see. Let me check the game logs here. Orji did throw 18 passes last week.
How many were completed?
10. 11 if you count the interception.
For how many yards?
Oh, if you count that.
86.
I mean, that ain't it, man. Like, he's not, like, for all intents and purposes, like they have no passing game.
No,
that's
none.
Fine. Like, that's fine. But like,
it reminds me.
Go ahead.
It reminds me of LSU when they had Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, except Leonard Fournette was dynamic and next level good. But yeah, sure.
Like it just like their passing numbers. Like the whole point I'm making, because I remember during that stretch, LSU's passing game was like they were living in the world of Army Navy. Like they were living in that same world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's a very, it's hard to win football games that way if that's all you're going to do.
Well, guess what? I don't think they're going to win on Saturday night in Seattle. We will be hearing from this game a little bit later in the pick segment. Other games that I want to get quick thoughts on outside the top 25. Felder, Pitt at UNC. Panthers are undefeated.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, what is UNC's mindset? The way
try to not lose. I mean, I don't know if you guys how closely you guys follow all this stuff, but like UNC went through this whole thing with like Matt Brown saying he didn't know if he was the right coach for this team.
Yeah, after JMU put 70 on him,
and then he had to come out and be like, "No, I'm happy to coach this team." And it's all a nightmare.
Then they blew a 20-0 lead against Duke last week.
20-0 lead against Duke.
Like, what's the mindset of this locker room? Nobody knows the answer, but, like, where Keenan's going to be empty on Saturday.
I won't be.
Is it Parents' Weekend or something? Is it homecoming?
It's homecoming.
Oh, God. Well, You got Pitt and the Nard Dog rolling through there on Saturday at high noon, man.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm excited for Sunday because one of my best friends it's him, his wife, and their 3 kids are going to the game. And then they're going to drive down to Charlotte, stay with one of our friends, and we're going to go Sunday. We're going to have like a late lunch, early dinner, and hang out. So I'm excited for that part of it. But so there will be people there. Like these tickets have already been bought. These tickets have already, like, hotels have already been booked.
Yeah.
There's going to be people there. I don't know how long they're going to stay.
Well, that's up to Pitt. Pitt has a chance to send them home early. Wake Forest at NC State, another game that starts at noon. Both teams are down really bad here. It is what it is.
Dude,
Was NC State not a preseason top 25 team? Did I get that wrong?
No, you did not get that wrong. They're a preseason top 25.
Dude,
I like this Holstein kid.
Okay.
For Pitt,
That's for Pitt.
Me too.
Like I just wanted to make sure I got his name right because I almost called him Holstein, but Holstein. To go back to NC State, man. Obviously, McCall's not even dressing at this point. He's hurt. And NC State, their defense is not good.
Not very good.
Their defense is not very good. They can't. Like, they have, what is it, Concepcion?
KC Concepcion, love them.
And what else? Like, realistically, what else?
No, there's nothing. I mean, the Grayson McCall experiment has failed.
Well, they've got a really bad Wake defense to play against. So.
True. So Waters and Raphael will probably be able to get off.
Maybe here's a little sneaky overplay. I hadn't really thought about that.
I
52.
Don't trust NC State.
I don't trust it.
NC State. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. But that's a noon game. One other game in the ACC I'd like to get some thoughts on here. Duke at Georgia Tech, 8 o'clock. Have you seen the line in this game,
Keep
Tripper?
going up. Yeah, it's up to 9.5.
Why is Duke over a touchdown underdog in Atlanta? This is a 5-0 Duke team, man. We should be putting some respect on their name.
Well, coming off, this is not a great spot for Duke, though, because of what they're coming off of. Big comeback win in their biggest rivalry game. Now they're on the road against a team that's, I mean, look, I think Georgia Tech's better than Duke after watching both teams.
I don't know, man.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't think Georgia Tech is 10 points better than Duke.
Right. That's the thing that stands out to me.
That seems a little disrespectful, man. I mean, they're about to build the Manny Diaz statue there in Durham. Come on.
I'm seeing 8.5.
Okay, so it's moving a little bit, but still. Couple of others just to kind of throw out there. Rutgers at Nebraska. Scarlet Knights are undefeated. They're underdogs in Lincoln. Watch out for that. UCF at Florida. Look, man.
Gators are a dog.
Gators are a dog, as they should be. Billy Napier coming off a bye week. Are you going to lose to another in-state non-conference team? Because you already lost to Miami at the Swamp. Now UCF comes to town. Did you see what UCF did against Colorado, Felder? They looked. Is Colorado getting better? Like,
I think so.
Are we sleeping on the Buffs? I mean, they're on a bye this week.
Sleeping on them. I think what we're doing is keeping them at arm's length.
Okay. All right, that's fine. We can have that discussion next week when they
keeping them at arm's length. We're watching them. We're watching them.
UCF shit the bed last week at home.
Yeah, we're not hugging them.
That was a clunker of a game for UCF.
We're keeping them at arm's length.
And then Texas Tech at Arizona, last game on the board. This will be entertaining.
That'll be an NBA game right there.
Arizona, like, they got right in Salt Lake City last week, and teams don't win in Salt Lake City. That doesn't happen. So now the Big 12 race is, and this time next week, I'm gonna get Shahan back on the show. Our man Shahan Jayaraja from CBS Sports. I tried to get him on today, but he had some stuff going on. Either way, we're gonna talk Big 12 next week, Felder, because that league, it is
most intriguing,
wild. Yeah, it is. The storylines are true. The stuff we talked about in the summer. That is the most interesting power league.
Because Kansas is driven off a cliff.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe the Andy Kotelnicki thing was more than we thought when he left to go to Penn State. Like, maybe that guy was helping Jaden Daniels.
They're
read.
Weren't they preseason
top 20?
Top 20, yeah.
Top 25. They're like 22.
At least top 25, yeah.
By the way, I said Jaden Daniels. I meant to say Jalen Daniels. I'm sorry.
Bro, look, Jalen, Jaden, Talon, we got it.
I get it wrong a lot. You guys want to make some picks before we get out
of
here?
That's
my dog. Take that. That's my dog. Say that right, Mom. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
Both the Doc and Felder hit their underdogs last week. Tripp had TCU plus 1.5. Felder had Bama. He doesn't shy away from the big games, folks. So for the season, both of you guys are doing pretty well in the That's My Dog. 3-2 on the year. So who's going to go first with their Week 6 That's My Dog selection?
You guys go. I'm still looking. I'm still circling.
All right. I'll throw one out there. Give me App State plus 3 at Marshall. It's obviously been a rough week. We are thinking about our friends in the mountains. App State is playing this football game. Last week's game against Liberty got canceled. They got to go to a Marshall team that's not very good. This is a low-key kind of hot seat bowl for both of these coaches. And App State getting 3 on the road, rooting for the Mountaineers. Maybe they can rally around all the devastation and just everything that's been going on with that community. So a team to root for in more ways than one. Give me App State plus 3 for That's My Dog. And historically, I'm not doing very well on these for the year. So hopefully that changes.
Can I take 2 this week?
I'm not going to say no.
I got 2. I'm going to take Wake Forest.
Oh,
you were just saying it's very hard to trust NC State. I know it's not very easy to trust Wake Forest, but super uninspired by NC State this year. So I'm going to start betting against these guys. Wake plus 5.5.
I understand that, but have you seen
Actually, I think
Wake?
It's down to 4. I have.
Okay.
But I think Wake's actually got a little bit of an offense, and I think they'll be able to win in Raleigh.
Okay.
I also like I'm going to take Florida at home
to
beat UCF. I'm a big Graham Mertz guy. I just can't stay away.
I got 2.5 there.
It's all yours, buddy.
Okay.
That is all yours. Yikes.
Pretty scary stuff.
All right, so I'm eyeballing Syracuse.
Yeah.
Mizzou. I'm going to take Wake off the board. Chip already got that one. South Carolina. West Virginia. Washington. West Virginia.
Yeah, I don't see that, man.
Have you watched
I had that down.
State?
Yeah, I had that down.
I have. Yeah.
West Virginia is I think they're all right.
Oklahoma State's been bad. And I mean, a couple of those scores are just completely not what happened in the game. Against Utah, they were down 20 and they kind of scored a couple touchdowns late, but
have been bad. Okay. But we're going to prop up West Virginia because they beat Kansas. Kansas is trash this year, man. Come on.
They have a little momentum though and I think they're off a bye too. I mean, they played. The last. I hate to go back there because this was my famous underlock that ended up going over. But West Virginia played about as good as you could play for the last 10 minutes of football there.
Sounds like that lock wasn't securely fastened there, Doc.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't press it all the way down.
I didn't press. Sometimes you press it, it just doesn't click.
It clicked, but it didn't lock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
all right. Okay. Fine, Hartzell. You talked me out of that one. That's fine.
I think West Virginia's going to get smoked.
West Virginia by 1 million now.
Yeah.
Who's coming off the 3-0 week last week? Just out of curiosity.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Washington, Texas Tech, Rutgers.
Only one of those teams is at home Saturday.
Yeah.
And Washington's not an underdog. They're favored.
Are they favored?
Yeah, they're the slight favorite.
I thought I saw it the other way. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not picking Michigan. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I was going to say you could take the maize and blue.
No chance.
No thanks. Okay, very good.
Give me Rutgers.
Yeah.
Let's go. Give me Rutgers.
Not bad.
Rutgers.
Not bad.
That's a big spread for you, Felder. You've been pretty conservative with your "that's my dog" selections. Now, again, folks, to remind
Compared to
people,
previous years.
this is not about covering the spread. This is about winning outright as an underdog. So Felder's on Rutgers, Tripp is on Wake Forest and Florida. I'm on App State. So there we go. All right, now for the main event, the reason you're all here. 3 for all selections. Now, I have heard from multiple listeners of the show that would like to remain anonymous. They're like, dude, Tripp's getting pretty cocky. Like, this dude, you need to bring this dude back down to earth. Now, I went 3-0 last week. I did my part. Okay, I gave you nothing but winners.
And where'd that get you?
The Doc had a solid 2-1 week. You and I are tied. We are both
That's
10-5 on the season, okay? So, without further ado, since I went 3-0 last week, Doc, the floor is yours. Your first pick of the Week 6 3-for-all.
I'll take the top play on the board for me, Clemson. I don't care what the number is. It's probably up to like 85 now, but I'm taking Clemson.
The line is 14.5.
I'd like the Clemson Tigers.
I think that's look. As much as I want to see you humbled and just kind of knocked down a peg or two, I think that's not a good pick.
Well, have you talked to anyone who would bet Florida State here? That's the only scary part is I don't know anyone who's going to take the Noles.
I understand, but I'm with you. If you're interested in like the whole like, hey, let me see what the alternate line market looks like. I would be interested in like a Clemson minus 30.
Yeah.
At like plus money. You know what I mean? Because I'm with you, man. I think Florida State, they're down bad. All right, we're going out west with all 3 of my picks, and we're going to start with a team that not a lot of folks are talking about, and that's okay. I understand why you're not talking about them. Give me the Spartans of San Jose State. Okay, we haven't seen these guys in a while. They lost a wild game at Washington State a couple weeks ago. They are 3-1 on the season. Had they won that game against the Cougs, I think most folks would know about them because they'd be undefeated. But instead, they're just kind of lurking around at 3-1. Nevada's coming to town. San Jose State puts up a lot of points. If you don't know about this Nick Nash kid, you're doing it wrong. This guy's a monster.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have a
very
big day.
good.
Yeah, he's incredible. San Jose State puts up points. Nevada will not be able to keep up. So give me the Spartans of San Jose. Check the line on this for me, Felder. I have it at 6.5.
I'm seeing 7.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a big number.
San Jose State minus 7 against Nevada. You're going to have to wait around for that one. 7:30 kick on True TV. Let's go.
Look at that.
Let's go. All right, Doc, back to you. Second selection.
Boise State, big number to cover. Can we get an official number here?
I saw 27,
from Felder,
dude.
Yep.
It has gone up.
Well,
27.
27. Are you locked in at 27?
I'm
Doc?
gonna stick with them. Yeah,
Okay.
Boise State, big
Opened
number.
at 28.
You can make a lot of money betting against Utah State.
Okay.
And I know it's a big number, but they've got a kid they're trying to win the Heisman Trophy for. So I'll take Boise to cover a big number.
There we go.
I'm going back to the West Coast. Give me Washington minus 1.5 against Michigan. This is a fade of the Wolverines, who I think are just not a very good football team. But also Washington, that environment, just that place is going to be juiced, man.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Washington's a good football team. They can score, okay? Like,
yeah,
it sounds simplistic, but one of these teams is capable of generating offense and points. The other one isn't. I feel even better about this pick, knowing that Michigan's got some injury concerns. And if Will Johnson doesn't play, like, he is the best player on Michigan's roster. If he doesn't play, then I love this pick even more. Give me Washington -1.5 against the Wolverines.
Don't think that's a bad pick at all. I think the under could be a really good pick there too. Because
maybe the Undertaker should chime in there.
Maybe he should. I'm afraid that it's already been hacked and might be dead before it got started. The third pick for me is really, really tough because I've got a lot of games on my radar this week. Tennessee's really hard to turn down because I think they're going to look good. I also like TCU, but here's my third lock: the under in Navy Air Force. It's up to 37. If you give me 37, I'm going under.
36-5.
I got to be honest, Trip. I think Navy's going to cover that on their own.
Really?
Yeah, I do. But I support you. Obviously, CSN supports the troops. So if you want to give Navy and Air Force some love,
Air Force is bad.
Kick, yeah, Air Force is really bad. But that's okay. I think it's a great pick because I'm here to beat you at the end of the day. And so if you pick a stinker, you got to live with it. So there you go. It's a Navy Air Force under.
I mean, that's just not. I wanted 37.
I think I'm going to start picking games. Like right underneath Navy Air Force on ESPN Bet is Princeton, Columbia.
No, don't.
Oh, Princeton.
You can call your boy D. Palm. He knows a thing or two about what's going on with Columbia's football program. Last pick for me.
They're 1-1. They're 1-0 at home, though.
Hey, I'm going to Berserkly, dude. You already know. I stated my case, and I thought Felder brought up the Cam Ward, scout very well.
Yeah.
Cal is getting 10. Double check the number for me on this. It
10.
was 12 to start the week. Cal's been getting a lot of action. Justin Wilcox as a home underdog against the spread, 12-5 at Cal. This dude just prints money.
It opened up at 13-5.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have loved that. I'll take Cal plus 10 against Miami. And again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the week, or at the beginning of the show, and the beginning of the week, you got a couple teams in the top 15 that are on upset alert. Miami's one of them. Would not shock me at all if they lost. Michigan's in the top 10. They're going to go down. I think Tennessee needs to watch out. Ole Miss needs to watch out. Missouri needs to watch out. Look, on paper, you guys think this is going to be a boring weekend. Not so fast, my friends. That's all I'm saying. So give me Cal. Dude, they will rush the field. You know how much weed they'll be smoking in Berkeley if they knock off Miami on Saturday night into the wee hours of Sunday morning? And 95% of people aren't going to watch it because it starts so late. But that's fine. That's where this show thrives. So there you go. 3 for all picks. Tripp likes the under in Navy Air Force. He likes Boise State minus a ton and Clemson minus a ton. Give me San Jose State, Washington, and Cal. So there you go. Head-to-head picks. You love to see it. That's what you're here for. Hey, Felder, enjoy the weekend. Cook something good for dinner tonight. I know you will.
Fish and chips.
Okay, that's fine. Not my favorite, but I'm not invited. So eat well, my friend.
Yeah, you're
Enjoy
not a
that.
fish guy.
I don't like, not fish with an F. Fish with a PH all day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't love eating seafood. Doctor, I will see you in the Blitz studio on Saturday. Check us out on the Varsity app, folks. We're streaming live for free, noon Eastern till midnight Eastern on the Varsity app. That is a free download on Apple Store and Google Store. What's it called? Google Play. Thank you. I don't own an Android device, but Felder does. Check out the Varsity app. We are doing our thing, Red Zone channel for college football, and the doctor is manning the controls. He's in charge of the whole operation. So, thank you guys for listening. Enjoy week 6. We'll talk to you next week.